and Annika's going to video.
Okay.
No pressure.
No
Okay,
pressure.
Annika?
Yes.
Go.
All right, so a white light for night travel. It can be a headlight, it can be on the bow of the boat, it can be any white light is acceptable. You really want something that can cast a good light out and you can see. That's pretty important. You will want to have the lights pulled out ahead of time before it gets dark. If you're trying to pull it out after it gets dark, you can't see inside the boat. You're gonna run into timing problems. So pull them out ahead of time before it gets dark, before you go into a section of river that's really technical, and have them available. You can just put headlights around your neck and just run with them overnight like that, so that you can turn it on anytime you need it. One of the things to keep in mind when you're dealing with lights is anytime you turn on a light at night and you shine it at something really close to you, it blinds you for a little bit. So use it judiciously. Only turn it on when you actually need to see something, and only turn it on to the brightness that you need to see it. Red lights or green lights are preferred when you're trying to see something really close to you. White lights can reach out a lot further away from you. For the headlight or the bow light, it's really important to be able to turn the bow light on and off fairly easily. The reasons why you would want to turn it off is if you're running next to somebody, you're gonna want to turn it off. If you're right behind that other person, all you're doing is putting light on them, and you can't, neither of your two teams right there can see anything on the river. So the second place boat in that two boats that are following each other would just turn their light off, let the first place boat have their light on, and you can follow one another, okay? So it just makes it easier to turn it on and off. A switch can be as simple as something like that. You can buy it at the hardware store, and it can be wired in line with a battery pack like that. We'll go over batteries in just a minute. That can be put right next to your seat at a place where you can just flip it on and off. One of the other big things is having the ability to change batteries. Battery pack like this can be plugged in with a real simple connector to right there at your seat. You don't have to go up to the light in order to make the change. A lot of the boats have pretty long bows, so if you try and get out on the front of the boat, it makes the boat very unstable when you're trying to do that. So alternative, you pull over, stop the boat. Whenever you're stopped, you're not making progress down the river. So having the ability to change batteries at your seat is pretty important. Headlamps. Think about what you're going to use the headlamp for. So if you're going to use it to actually see where you're going, you need a big honking headlamp in order to throw a bunch of light out way in front of you. Narrow beam, throw it way out. Whereas if you're just using it for finding stuff in the boat, you want something a lot less power, a lot smaller battery size, and you can just hang it around your neck and you're good to go for the whole night. You can kind of rummage around and find your food in the boat, right? Okay, bilge pumps. This is the next category of types of electronics. So a bilge pump like this is something that you can put in the bottom of the boat. It has a pump on the inside, and if you lay it flat with the bottom of the boat, it'll suck water up and shoot it out of the boat just with battery power. It's really helpful with respect to you're going to get water in the boat. You're going to be in and out of the boat a lot. Your feet and your body is going to be dragging water into the boat. You're going to flip at some points, possibly, and you're going to get water in the boat. You're going to go through standing waves. Water's going to get in the boat. And if you're having to pull over every hour for a 3 or 4 minute dump, that adds up really, really fast. So having the ability to get water out of the boat efficiently and get that water level down so you're not having to paddle all that water down to sea drift is going to be helpful. Electric pumps are not the only option. There are pneumatic pumps that you can buy as well that are foot activated, but I'm just covering electronics at this station. These run on battery packs, this battery pack right here. So this battery pack will power both a light and a bilge pump. So build your battery packs and your lights and your pumps in such a way that all the connectors work. Pumps in particular, you have to get the polarity correct. You have to put the positive to the positive and the negative to the negative. Otherwise it's going to reverse and you're going to be pumping water into the boat, which doesn't help. Well, I'll take you over to this boat here in a minute and kind of show and tell in just a second. All right. Okay, general electronics. One of the required things that we have in the boat as part of the Safari rules is a Garmin GPS tracker that is inReach enabled. That can be as something as similar to this, very, very small, or you can run a really big one that has like a map and you can mount it up on front of you and it's got track points and you can see where you're going. It's just a matter of how much money you want to spend. Those bigger ones don't last as long on battery, so always check battery life. As part of this package, there is what Jay had up on the screen up there. I've got a copy of this so that you can see it more carefully. I know y'all couldn't see the screen in there, most of you. So the last page of this has a recommendation of which Garmin inReach device to use. Garmin inReach device, some of the things you need to know about that is when you've got to get a subscription, you have to make it to where it will track you every 10 minutes. So when you get into your Garmin menu, you have to change it to track a point every 10 minutes. It has options for like 30 minutes, hour, 2 hours, stuff like that. You have to set it to 10 minutes so that we can keep track of where you're at every time on the race course. Also, it only works if it's on. So make sure you turn it on before the race starts. Otherwise, we're gonna intercept you at the first checkpoint and say, hey, y'all gotta turn it on. All right. Two-way communication can be pretty much anything. You kind of covered it in the seminar in there. It could be a cell phone, it could be a two-way radio, it could even be a GPS device. But I recommend just a simple cell phone. Turn it off, throw it in a dry bag, and it'll last you the whole race. Not really many reasons to be on a cell phone during a race. Anytime you're talking, you're not moving forward. All right, we already covered electric bilge pumps. Batteries. Battery management is pretty key to the race. So you need to plan your race based off of how fast your training is. If you're training and you're going from one point to another and it's taking you 5 hours and that gives you a mile per hour of 4 miles per hour, take a little bit off of that for the Safari, do like 3.5 miles per hour times the race, and there's your estimated finish time. Plan your race around that finish time and the batteries that are associated. If you're new to canoeing and you're not confident about how to do that, plan your race around 100 hours. Bring enough batteries for every single night that you're going to be out there. All of the bilge pumps that you might need, the Garmin device that you need, and just plan it around a 100-hour race. The worst comes to worst, you don't use it, you can throw it out. If you know that you're on pace for a much faster race, you can throw it out of the boat. Lose a little weight to get down the river. Battery packs are kind of funny in that if you seal them, make sure they're fully sealed. If any water gets in here and inside this area, it will make this battery pack not work during the course of the race. What I mean by that is submerged batteries will work, but they will corrode very quickly. Whereas if you have it like this, where it's open and water can freely drain out, they tend to last a little better. So I actually don't seal my batteries. If you do seal them though, make sure 100% they're fully sealed. Any water gets in there, it's gonna ruin them real fast. Back on the lights thing, and I forgot to cover lights. Lights can be really simple. They can be really, like you can get something off of Amazon for $50 and it'll last you the whole safari. Or you can get something really complicated. There's some folks in the racing community that build lights This is an example of a built light that's specific for the Safari. It's very lightweight, and it has just the right amount of lumens to get you what you need to see. This is something that you can buy for 20 bucks on Amazon, and it'll get you down the river. So it's all about how much you want to spend. Then you got to figure out how you're going to mount it. So all of these things that you have here need a plan for how you're going to use them. So let's everybody shift over to the boat, and we'll kind of eclipse the boat, and we can go. I'm just going to work from the bow backwards as we go. So this is an example of a mount. It's just a ball mount with a little rotatable thing, and as you tighten it up, it locks into place wherever you tighten it to. If you want to tighten it and go off to the side so you have a side angle for the light, you can do that, or whatever. Think about it in terms too of how the light's going to fall off the boat. If a tree branch comes and contacts this, how is it going to fall back, and is it going to be secured back to the boat with something like a lanyard so that the light itself doesn't fall into the water and disappear from your life, which would be really, really challenging at that point. So keep in mind things like that. This particular light is not set up to be able to turn on and off from the bow, but there are cables here that allow you to connect something that is connected. So the light that I had up there, for example, I could put it on here and then connect it through this cable. The cable runs back over here to a switch right here. Y'all probably can't see it, but it's just like the one that I had over there. So that will allow you not only there, but you can put the batteries in a pack like this. So you're managing your batteries and your lighting system from your seat. Anybody have any questions on the light rigging portion of something like this? All right, this foam right here is going to be your best friend when it comes to boat rigging, and you'll see this foam throughout. It's pretty soft stuff. It mounts very well with contact cement, so you can buy contact cement from the hardware store. You just put one layer of contact cement on one side, another on the side of the boat, and then after 10 minutes you stick it together, and it's not going to move very well. You can pick up the whole boat with that. It's pretty strong stuff. What you can do is you can cut this to any shape you want. It's really, really easy to cut. You can just use knives and stuff like that, and then you can poke a hole in it and you can shove that light right into that hole and then attach this to the boat, and there you have a mount. It's really, really simple stuff. This is readily available from a place like TG Canoes, or I know Holly has some. It's readily available stuff online as well. What else do we have? All right, so moving down the boat, in here at the bottom is, and you're probably going to want to come much closer to be able to see this. This is a bilge pump that's fastened to the boat. It's fastened to the bottom of the boat in such a way that no matter what really happens with the boat, it's always going to be touching the bottom of the boat. If it comes up off the bottom of the boat for any reason or comes dislodged, it's not going to work. It's got to have a little suction between the bottom of the boat and the bottom of your bilge pump, right? Otherwise, it's not going to shoot out water. And then the other thing is that there's a hose that runs up to the side of the boat, and there's a port on the outside of the boat that allows the water to go out of the boat. So make sure that, and you can use this kind of foam to like make a little cover for it, if you will, and just fasten it all as one unit to the bottom of the boat so that it doesn't go anywhere. I think most of the reasons that I've ever seen that a bilge pump doesn't work is because it's not fastened to the bottom of the boat well. So make sure it's really rock solid down there. There's all kinds of mounting methods that you can use. Cable management is a big deal as well. Make sure that your cables aren't too long to where they get in your way, and they're not too short where you can't work on it. So if I'm sitting in the boat and I have to turn my body all the way around in order to get to the pack, that's going to create some instability in the boat when I turn around. Whereas if it's long enough that you can you bring it up beside you while you're working on it. It's just the right length to be able to kind of maneuver in the boat. Anytime you're using new equipment like this, you want to test it out on the river in a race environment if at all possible. So make sure you rig it ahead of time, test it out ahead of time, figure out what doesn't work. If you're chasing battery packs all over the place and they're hard to plug in, find a different connector that's going to work, something that works for you. There's a ton of different connectors out there, by the way, so just go find what works for you. The Garmin device needs to be mounted on the boat in order that it can see the sky. So if it can't see the sky, then we can't see you. So make sure that it's pointed up, it's got a clear vision of the sky, and it's not near where somebody is sitting. So if I put the device underneath my seat, I'm not in a good spot.
Antenna up or facing?
The antenna, the mini, like what you're probably thinking about. It's about this big. It's got a little thick antenna coming off of it. It doesn't matter. Just so long as it's laying flat, the antenna can see the sky. Yep. You don't want it underneath something like that or underneath here. You don't want it. You tend to not want it at the ends of the boat where it could get scraped off the boat. You want it kind of secure near the middle of the boat. All right. There's also the other thing to think about with a bilge pump is placement. So you want to make sure that it's placed in the bottom of the boat where the water collects. So don't put it in the boat at the end of the boat. Boats are kind of bananaed, if you will. You don't want to put it at the ends of the boat unless your boat is not bananaed. Put it down in the valley of the boat, right? So probably just want to go throw some water in it at some point, sit in the boat, and then see where it collects, and then put the bilge pump there. All right, does anybody have any questions at this point?
How are you cutting these circles so perfectly? Are you using some kind of template or just using a butter knife?
Yeah, this one, I have my own technique. There's actually a YouTube video out there on it. Okay. You can search for Texas Water Safari jug foam cutting. But I use a circular saw, with those circle hole cutters.
Yeah. Okay.
But what I end up doing is putting a mandrel right through the middle of it that gives me a guide to go straight through. Because those things have a lot of torque and they kind of wobble all over the place. So you gotta give yourself a guide to go down. Most jugs are, if I remember right, they're 8 inches in diameter. So you just buy an 8-inch hole. You can do it by hand saws as well.
All right.
They just look more janky.
Yeah.
For your bilge pump, do you have that on a manual switch or do you have one with an automatic bilge pump?
I've never done an automatic. I always choose when I want it on or off. So I put it on a manual switch. And that's something that triggers my memory now. Bilge pumps won't work if they're not primed. So if you don't have enough water in the boat to get it primed, it won't work. So you have to have enough water covering it, and then you might have to flip it on and off a few times to kind of get the suction going to get it out the boat. Same thing is applicable to these pneumatic pumps. Sometimes they won't work right off the bat. You gotta press them really fast in a fast sequence, and then it'll prime them and get the water going out. So if you turn the bilge pump on and it doesn't immediately start shooting, turn it off and cycle it a few times. And sometimes it just needs to prime and get it out.
My builds that I'm doing, I really don't want to put a hole through the hole. I've seen them run hoses out and over.
Mm-hmm.
Seen that work? Just aim it towards the back.
Yep, that works. Yeah, just get it. The whole point is to get it out of the boat. However you want to do that is.
Even for the seats, but I don't want to put holes in it for snap. You gotta get it if you want.
Do you have any battery pack recommendations to recharge things if you need to? Something that's
So
race proven?
I want to say, if I remember right, the Garmin devices oftentimes will have rechargeable batteries.
Yeah, so the battery pack to recharge it.
Yeah. So I think just get the right connector, and then whatever
Go with this.
milliamp hour that you want. Usually like a 20,000 milliamp hour Amazon special will get you there.
Okay, I guess that's what I'm asking. Is there a brand that's better or not? They're all
I would just get what you can find on Amazon.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's nothing special that I would
Sealed
for
battery.
that.
Appreciate it.
They're mostly sealed anyway.
That's what I was asking. I didn't know if they were or not.
In the bay crossing with the spray skirt, like, have you still had issues with taking on very much water in the bay with waves and the spray skirt?
Yes.
Can't find
That's a
this.
great question. So, just because you have a spray cover on the boat doesn't mean you're not going to get water in the boat. Water is still going to come up underneath the, in between where the snaps are. You'll see on the Alumacraft over there has a good spray cover example. But the snaps are only about 6 inches apart. Water gets up and under and into the boat. Also, where the cockpit is, where you're sitting, the water will get in and go down where you're sitting. So just because you have a spray cover doesn't mean you're not going to get a full boat of water. So you're going to want to probably have a good way to turn that bilge pump on while you're paddling. It's really, really hard to reach down in your spray cover down to a switch that you have to action with your hand. They do make foot compressible switches that you can put on your footrest where you can like pump it on and it'll turn your bilge pump on. And then you can hit it again when it stops spitting out water. So yeah, it's really hard when it's filling up.
And have you had issues with, so you put a fresh battery pack on your bilge pump before crossing the bay, have you had issues with one AA battery pack not lasting a bay crossing?
Yes. If it's a really, really rough bay and you're out there for a long time, the battery pack will only last about 30 minutes, is my experience.
30
And-
minutes of continuous pumping.
Of continuous pumping. But that's up for y'all to check. Those little battery packs, you can find them on Amazon. They're really cheap. They're like $4 or $5, and it takes a 15 volt battery pack because they're 12 volt pumps. So, all right, you had a question?
No, you answered. I was seeing how long they usually last. They burn out.
Yeah, battery packs don't last very long. The light battery packs, the light that I have, that'll run all night long. It'll be about a 12-hour burn. There are a lot of lights out there that'll be a lot brighter, but they take much bigger, longer battery packs. So it's a weight ratio that you need to decide for yourself. Do I want more light? And by having more light, I take more weight, or can I deal with less light and take less weight for batteries?
Any reason you don't have a mag light in the series?
Like a big mag light, they're very, very heavy. Yeah. So it's a weight versus lumens conversation. And what I find is right around 300 to 400 lumens is about right for me.
Is this a Phoenix?
I think it is actually. It looks like it. Yeah. It's kind of a newer light on the market. It's about $80 is from Amazon.
Looking at one on their website that's square and it gives you, I don't know, it's fairly low lumens, 300 or 400, but it will give you 6 hours. It will give you 6 hours on a brighter light, but it'll give you like, I don't remember, maybe 12 hours. And
Right.
It's on two of those 18 650 batteries, which are not that heavy.
Right.
They're rechargeable, so you take them with you, so you're not throwing them away.
Yep.
So that was maybe an option.
Yeah, that's the really cool part about that and this is new technology that I hadn't even seen until I got here last night.
Yeah.
That Holly put me on to, but it's one rechargeable battery. So you don't have to mess with a bunch of batteries. You just slide the one battery in to replace it and you're good to go. So it's pretty neat. Technology these days is moving so fast. So it's hard to keep up with all of it.
What is this material?
It's foam. It's 2 pound density foam.
That's what it is.
Yeah, closed cell.
And that
I think it was going to too.
So the Garmin inReach is required this year, right?
Yes.
I've seen a lot of people mount those in front of
Yeah, so
the driver
straight to
so
the
they can
bottom.
see. That's okay. Okay, you said not to keep it super close to the person, but I think you just meant like under.
Under them, yeah.
Yeah. So having it out in front for guidance.
Yep. All right, if y'all have any additional questions, you can come back and see me. Or ask any of the other safari racers. They got their own take on it.
You have a check valve in here?